Hello students, sorry my last video got cut off at the end of number 4, so we're just going to pick up right there and try to continue on to number 15. That's the goal anyway. So problem number 4, I told you that the answer was the last one, but now I'm going to show you why. So instead of an x, we're going to plug in this 6 here to see how it works out, and then you're going to drop your junk. 10 times 6 is going to give us 60, and that's exactly what we have on the other side. So because the two sides match, this is telling you the truth and it works out. So the answer is the last one. Question number 5. Again, I know I'm going kind of fast here, so please always pause these videos, replay them as much as you need. Well, in this equation, what is the first step that should be taken to solve for x? Anytime you have parentheses, you need to deal with those first. In this problem, I see parentheses. Who is waiting in front of the parentheses? The 4 is. So that 4 wants to be distributed. It needs to be multiplied through. So I put the steps down here. 4 times x is 4x, and 4 times 5 is 20. That's the first step. So the answer is the first answer. Distribute the 4 among the terms inside the parentheses. That is your first step. Okay, moving on to question number 6. Combine like terms. On this problem, they're simply wanting to see if you understand that the 3x and the 5x can go together. Why? Because they both have an x. So that'll give you a total of 8x. The y, on the other hand, does not mix with anybody because it's a y, and there are no other y's in this problem. So the answer is the first one, 8x plus 4y. Question number 7. They want you to solve the equation. They want you to get n by itself. So I'm just rewriting the problem, and I'm asking myself, who is bothering the n? There are two things bothering the n. The 12.2, that's right next to the n, and the 21.6, that's farther away. Who should you get rid of first? Hopefully you're thinking the 21.6 because it's farthest away. You always get rid of that first. And whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. And think money here. You have $3.30, but you owe somebody $21.60. So you need to subtract these. You're still going to owe them. How much will you still owe them? So you will still owe $18.30. Drop your junk. So I'm going to drop the 12.2n, and the 21.6 cancels out. How do you get rid of that 12.2n? The 12.2 that's in front of the n. It's close together. How am I going to get rid of that number? I know it's a decimal and it looks kind of ugly, but nonetheless, you still do the same thing as you always do. You divide to get rid of that number. So I'm going to divide both sides by 12.2. And of course, I'm going to do this on the calculator to make things go faster. Feel free to do the same. You can use a calculator on your test as well. But this is it. This is going to be my answer. Whatever I get, it's going to be my answer. And I get 1.5. Is this a positive 1.5 or a negative 1.5? Did this negative hook up with another negative? No. So he's making my answer negative 1.5. So that would be the third choice. Question number 8 wants us to simplify. So in other words, work it out. Now, what you have to do is you have to forget about the absolute value bars and just work with the inside. What happens if you owe $8 and you owe $3? Well, you're going to owe all of it. You're going to owe 8, 9, 10, 11. You're going to owe 11. Drop your junk. You have a plus 2 right there. What happens if you have $2? You make a payment because you owe somebody $11. What's going to happen? Well, you're still going to owe $9. Okay. Now we have to bring back these absolute value bars. What happens when you take the absolute value of negative 9? Well, the negative just goes away and the answer is positive 9. Because absolute values make everything come out positive. So that would be answer choice number 1. Question number 9. What is the value of x in the following equation? This just means that they want you to solve for x. Get the x by itself. Who's bothering the x? Well, the 49 is. How do you get rid of the 49 that's bothering the x? It's a positive 49, so we should subtract 49. And of course, you know that whatever you do to one side, you must do to the other. X is alone, so we are done. What's 88 take away 49? The answer to that is 39. So that would be the second answer choice. Moving on to question number 10. Which algebraic expression represents the statement, the product of a number and 12? You need to memorize what the word product means. Product means the answer after you multiply two things. So we are multiplying, we're timesing. What are we timesing? What and what? What are we multiplying? Well, it says we're multiplying a number and 12. So it didn't say what number, it just says a number. Whenever you see a problem that says a number, but they don't tell you which number, that just means X or N or A, any letter. And look at your answer choices. They're using the letter N on this one. So we'll use the letter N. So my answer here is N times 12. Or it could be 12 times N. You could switch them. It doesn't matter. Look at the answer choice number 3. There's no dot between the 12 and the N. But when there's nothing there, it does mean multiply. So the answer is this third answer right here. Let's move on to question number 11. Select the solutions to the following absolute value equation. Okay, there's different ways we can do this problem. We could either plug in the x's to see who works, or we can work it out and solve for x. I'm going to go ahead and solve for x. So here's what we have. I'm going to put a line down the equal sign. And I'm going to get rid of this plus 9. Because it's at the end, it's furthest away from the x. It's not even in the absolute value bars. It's just kind of hanging out. So I'm going to get rid of that plus 9 by doing the opposite, which is minus 9. Cross it out and drop your junk. And this is what I end up with. Now when you have the absolute value bars and it's equal to something, it's set up like this, you're going to have two answers. You're going to have a positive answer, you're going to go the positive route, and you have to go the negative route. This is what I mean by positive route and negative route. So just watch me do the problem. And you might need to rewind it and watch it again. But I'm going to write 3x minus 6. I'm going to write it twice. Okay? The only thing I'm going to change is that when I put equals, first I'm going to keep it with the positive 3. But then when I go over here on the other side, I'm going to put a negative 3. And that is the only difference. So you always set these up twice. Whenever you have an absolute value problem, you always set it up twice like this. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and put a line down the equal sign. I want you to forget about the other problem. Just focus your attention on this one right here on this side. Okay, let's focus our attention here. Who's bothering the x? Well, hopefully you're thinking the negative 6 and the 3. And hopefully by now you've got this in your brain engraved that you get rid of the one that's furthest away first. So I'm getting rid of the 6 first. Drop your junk. 3 plus 6 is 9. How do you get rid of that 3 bothering the x? Well, you need to divide by 3. Whenever they're close together like that, you always divide. Cross it out, drop your junk. X equals 3, because 3 goes into 9 3 times. Now I have to do the same exact steps on the other side. So I'm going to do it a bit quicker, because I think you guys got the hang of this solving for x stuff. So I showed all my work. You could see that my steps were exactly the same, but my answer came out different because of the negative that I had on the other side. The negative on the 3 made a big difference. And so my other answer was x equals positive 1. Again, feel free to pause this so you can take a close look at all of my steps. So which answer choice says that x could be 3 or x could be 1? That would be the last answer choice. Okay, problem number 12. Problem number 12 is very similar, so I'm going to go ahead and work this problem out the same way. I am going to set this up twice. I have the absolute value bars, and then I have the equal sign right away, so I don't have to add or subtract anything like I did on the other one, because this problem is ready. It's ready for me to do the step where I write it with the positive 42 and where I write it with the negative 42. So here it is. I'm going to work this problem out twice. And I'm going to go ahead and do both of these at the same time. I hope I don't confuse you by doing that. But the first step is to get rid of the 5 that's bothering the x. So I'm going to subtract 5 on both sides. Cross it out and drop your junk. So I have x equals to 37. And then I have on the other side x equal to negative 47. These are my two answers. So that would mean that it is the last answer choice, negative 47 and positive 37. Moving on to number 13. Number 13, they want you to solve for x. So again, you could either plug in all of those numbers to see which one works out for x, or you could work it out step by step. I'm going to go ahead and work it out step by step. 54 equals x over 3, or divided by 3,